Good afternoon. I am Joe Hunk, and Tennessee is going to be heading to a bowl, but they will be doing it without their senior cornerback, Alante Taylor. As he announced on Wednesday, he's not going to a bowl. He's going to a bowl. It's just going to be the 2022 Senior Bowl because he got invited to go to that, and then after that, he is just going to be heading to the NFL Draft. Now, when it comes to high school football going on over in Chattanooga, the first game of the day, Division II AA, as Lipscomb Academy defeated CPA 27-0. Sorry, Brent. And coming up at 3 o'clock, it is going to be Donaldson Christian Academy taking on Nashville Christian in the Division II Single A Championship. And we talked about it yesterday. Yes, at 11 o'clock last night, Major League Baseball did officially begin their lockout. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to go visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Vols, the flagship station for your Tennessee Titans. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Let's do this, Blaine and Mickey, on a Thursday. How in the world is everybody feeling today?
Ooh, lovely. It's so bright outside. I'm pumped up.
It
the
feels
sun
like-
gives me energy.
It feels
Wait a minute.
like-
Everybody turned around and looked at me because I was talking real loud. Oh, my. Wait till Ron Slay gets in here then.
Oh, they don't know what's about to hit them.
This place is going to be like an earthquake hit over here.
We are at T-Mobile in beautiful Green Hills. Let me tell you, man, you need to get over to Green Hills, get yourself, some shopping, some cuisine. They got a taco truck
Early
parked
Christmas.
outside.
Go get some Christmas shopping done.
I think you could do some Christmas shopping in here. One of the gentlemen, when I walked in, he said, I can sell you anything.
Yeah, man.
And they've got anything here. It's all here.
Yeah, Apple, Google, you name it. They got a Samsung. What do they not have?
Nothing. It's all here. So this is where you come to 3800 Hillsborough Pike, right across the street from the Green Hills Mall. We're next to next to Hillsborough High School. So
This used to be a Mexican place, didn't it? I think I came here for some Mexican food.
I came here once to get tacos and never got through the line. There were four people in front of me.
That's no longer why they're here.
Yeah, 27 minutes later, I'm like, I'm going to throw up my hands here. Pie Town Tacos is here. They're going to be serving lunch. Well, now it's 1 o'clock. There's interactive games. There's giveaways. Tons of awesome deals from T-Mobile. They are your hometown network. Celebrate the holidays with us and 3HL today and tomorrow. So the radio station will be here from 1 to 6 today and tomorrow. It's supposed to be nice weather again tomorrow. We should just do the show outside tomorrow.
Oh, man, that'd be nice. Man, I'm wondering where they're putting us up at over here at the nice
Where are we going to stay tonight?
Hotel since we're going to be here tomorrow. Yeah, that'd be perfect, man. Then we get some shopping in.
Sure.
Casual dining. It's all kind of things over here. But also the traffic.
Well, there is that.
Hey, man, whenever it's a great location, there's going to be traffic, especially when they're doing construction, too, as well.
But come by here and see us. And like I said, we're going to have all kinds of fun stuff going. 3HL will be here as well. And we'll be here tomorrow, too. Courtesy
stop by.
Of our friends at T-Mobile. And T-Mobile also, big part of what we're doing with our Toy Field, which is coming up next Tuesday, December 7th. You want more information, you can go to 104.5 The Zone. But you guys always step up here and do huge things. And,
my favorite time, Toy Field.
I
love it, man. I love Toy Field, man.
Is it your favorite day of the year? It's just the best day of the year.
It is, man. Yeah, just all the giving and us part of the community, and just see that field grow. Man, it's a great feeling to be a part of it. So I can't wait, man. Tuesday is here. December is here.
Yeah, I know.
It's like what, the second?
It's the.
Man, I cannot believe that.
Today's the second. I'm just going to look.
What? It's 70 degrees outside.
I know. It doesn't
this
feel
is
like
lovely. Great. This is another reason why everybody's moving here.
I will say this though: every year, whatever day we have Toy Field is the coldest day around.
Yeah, you're right, because we're always bundled up. What's supposed to be? Tell me it's going to be like 80.
Oh no! So tomorrow's going to be 73. So we'll be here
Don't
again.
tell me it's going to be cold again.
So then Saturday 61, and then here we go. It'll be 66 on Sunday. It's going to rain. It'll be 63 on Monday. It's going to rain. Then on Tuesday it's going to be high of 48, low of 28. We'll be bundled up again every year.
Man.
Why couldn't it be like this one day at Toy Field?
Well, it doesn't matter. I'll be there with my winter coat and my gloves.
Your heart will be warm.
Yes, it will. Yeah, and we'll have cocoa available.
We always do.
Yeah, or coffee, whatever your
What,
preference.
whatever you need to keep you warm. So this is kind of the way we do we were sitting here before the show and we were having this discussion. And Blaine he's our director of content.
Well, actually, Kirby, he's my assistant.
I wouldn't give Kirby too much credit.
As director of content, Kirby, So stop by and see Kirby and ask him about some, content that he does for the Blaine and Mickey show.
Yeah, and just be prepared for a lengthy answer about nothing. So Blaine is also, he knows more about groins than anybody on the show. So he's our abductus longus director because of his extensive knowledge about groins. So if you see Blaine on the street and you want to know anything about groins, just say, hey, Hitman, I got some groin questions for you. So make sure you do that.
Due to groin injuries and abdominal and knee, shoulder, fingers, hands, forearm, hey, man, we might as well just add back to it. Oh, and neck. So, so neck, Super Bowl. So we can. It's a laundry list, man. If you go,
was that what was attached to the Super Bowl? I know your neck and your back give you trouble.
Besides getting concussed, yes.
Right,
it was my neck.
Okay,
yeah.
but it was
I sprained my neck. Yeah.
Okay. You sprained your neck?
Yes. Yeah. They everyone was in the downtown hanging out the next day or whenever they had the parade. I was not there because I was in a neck brace.
Oh my gosh!
Why did you just laugh at that? That is serious. I had a neck brace on, so I could not attend. Yeah.
Missed the parade.
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
I watched it on TV though. I felt like I was there in my bed though. By the way, so I was in. Yeah, it was about a 3-month rehab there for the sprained neck. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that was serious stuff.
So you asked me this question. We were just having this discussion kind of casually, and then I'm like, like the Ben Roethlisberger, the gif of him where he goes, like he just thought of something. Because Kirby, and we can give Kirby indirectly a tiny bit of credit because he said, the AFC doesn't make any sense because one team wins 4 and then they lose 2, and then somebody wins 3 and then they lose 3. And we're like, yeah. So then that got you asking, okay, then who is the best team in the AFC? So then we start looking. Because the top seed after Sunday, it was the Titans. They lost and dropped 2 spots. They dropped from 1 to 3, whatever that is. 2 places, 3 spots. The Ravens are the top seed right now. Are the Ravens the best team in the AFC?
Oh, I would not trust the Ravens if my life depended on it. No. I mean, Jackson just threw 4 interceptions. Now, one thing you can say, they still won and you don't know what you're going to get. But guess what? They're going to be firing on all cylinders. And I want consistency, and I like consistent teams. So right now in the AFC, this is a tough one. I'm liking the Bills Mafia.
Okay.
I like the Bills Mafia because they went through a lull, and now they're getting back to they won 2 in a row. Because I know they lost to the Jaguars. They came back to beat the Jets.
They've won only one in a row.
1 in a row. Okay. Yeah, I just like their team. And it pains me to say they're not even in the hunt. I like the Colts. And the reason why I say those 2 teams is because they have balanced teams. Their offense and defense are just consistent and solid. Bills have a chink in the armor. They don't have an elite running back. I think the Colts more so that's kind of my team to turn around, a surprise team to make it, is that they throw the ball too much. I think it's more Reich than Wentz. Just be 50-50. So I like teams that have balance. Doesn't mean they're always going to win, naturally, since the Titans beat them in the head-to-head. But I'm nervous going down the stretch for the Titans is that they won't get a lot of the guys back healthy here immediately when they're coming back off of the bye week. I think only Julio is available in Crookshank, you said, right?
That's it.
That doesn't mean those guys will
come back. Right. That just means they could.
See, so I just don't like the feel where we're going here, and we may have to go through another little lull before we get everybody healthy and then get back in rhythm and into the flow of what you need. And then now Jackrabbit's out. Now, for what you're worth, he may be an average starting cornerback, but he is the starting cornerback. For all his faults, there are some good things, obviously.
So number 2 is the Patriots. They're number 2 seed. They're the hottest team in football. They've won 6 straight. But nothing blew me away about the Patriots. If the Titans don't turn the ball over 4 times and Randy makes 4 points more worth of kicks, they may beat those guys up there with a depleted roster.
Well, I'm not going to go that far and say they could have beat them, but I think the game would have been a lot closer. To your point, you just never know. I thought they couldn't stop them on defense. The Titans couldn't stop them. They drove up and downfield. One time. They said, and then they got a lot of field goals. So they did do the job in the red zone. And, we didn't do, such a good job in the red zone offensively at times. But, yeah, it could have been a close game. But we have to play close to the vest to win games now. You can't have turnovers. Tannehill's forcing the issues. He's not on time with in rhythm with the receivers. They're not on the same page, and they're not as good. Let's just talk about it all. So all of that is the reason why they're losing with Tannehill's play. It's not just him; it's them too. And then they got no pass rush. So that Mac Jones looked like he was a young Tom Brady or whoever you want to put there. I mean, he was just slinging that thing around just like he was comfortable. He had command. I love what I saw. I knew going into the game I liked him, and I liked him coming out, and now I like him even more. I was worried about how athletic he would be. I thought he was a better athlete than Tom Brady naturally, but he wasn't Fields or or Wilson that was
Right.
at the Jets, but he's somewhere in the middle. He has enough. He has enough, and he beats people with his brain, and that is ultimately the number one deal when you're a quarterback. And he has accuracy. He has this moxie about him, his quirkiness, and he has fun out there. So I like him, man. This team is dangerous. That's what I was asking yesterday is, can he take them to Super Bowl? We had Jordan DeJani. That's what I asked him. Like, is he good enough to do that? He can get them there, but to win it, probably not.
We asked a question on Blaine and Mickey. Brian says, unfortunately, it's the Patriots. That's his answer. Ramon's nephew, John Johnson, on Twitter says, the Titans are still the best. With half a roster, they're competing. Just stop turning the ball over, and we are 10-2. That's what Ramon's nephew, John Johnson, says on Twitter. You can interact with us there at Blaine and Mickey. So the Titans are the 3rd seed. Chiefs are the 4th seed. They're starting to look like the Chiefs again.
Mm-hmm.
The Bengals are the 5th seed. And a hot Joe Burrow is terrifying in any setting.
Well, it's the way they beat the Steelers. The Steelers have fallen off a cliff. I got to give him credit hanging there with Roethlisberger, but he's done. Their loyalty to him has been outstanding. He's a Hall of Fame player, but before, he was the linchpin that could overcome all these things.
He was.
And he's not that guy now.
So 1 seed Ravens, 2 Patriots, 3 Titans. This is the way it is. This is the AFC, the way it's seeded right now based on wins, losses, and tiebreakers. Ravens, Patriots, Titans, Chiefs, Bengals. Bills are the 6th seed. The Chargers are the 7th seed. The Broncos are the 8th seed. The Raiders are the 9th. Colts are currently 10th seed.
Yeah.
Because of how they started.
Yeah.
And they got it.
And then they keep losing. I mean, they barely lost to Tampa Bay, who everybody's predicting, if not in the NFC Championship, but back in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Versus Green
Feels
Bay
like a safe
in
bet.
NFC. Yeah. So that's a really good team. So they keep losing these games close. So their margin of error there in these games where they have a tough schedule. But I still believe that they're going to find a way because I think the Titans are going to come back to the field with the AFC, with them, AFC South. And so that's why I say I'm a little nervous. And everybody can say, look at the records of the teams that the Titans have to play. Well, okay, let's use San Francisco. San Francisco looks like the team that played in the Super Bowl 2 years ago right now. The way that they're playing, the last 3 weeks that I watched them, I'm like, whoa.
Won 3 in a row.
Oh, 3 in a row, yeah. I was like, The team that should be really concerned that they won't make it, and that's going to the NFC, is the Rams. They better get some stuff together real quick.
Lost 3 in a row.
Yeah, they don't look very good.
Tell you who always looks good, John Glennon. He's set to join us next. We got a bunch of Titans headlines. We'll ask him who's the best team in the AFC. We'll ask Glennon that. We also ask you. You can weigh in again on Twitter at Blaine and Mickey, live from T-Mobile on Hillsborough Road. That's where we are. Come by and see us. 3,800. Got all kinds of cool Christmas gifts just coming. Stuff your stocking today. Can't wait to see you. 3HL will be here too, all the way until 6 o'clock. We'll be back more Blaine and Mickey after this on 104.5 The Zone.
Now, a high school football scoreboard update. Presented by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office on 104.5 The Zone.
Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. The first of 9 state champions have been crowned in Chattanooga as Lipscomb Academy completes a perfect season, defeating CPA 27-0 in the D2 AA state title game. The MVP, running back Alex Broom, 20 carries, 137 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Coming up at 2 o'clock Central, it will be DCA and Nashville Christian going head-to-head for the D2 single A state title. Designated drivers are the real MVP. If you've been drinking, pass your keys to a sober friend. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you that fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone, live from the T-Mobile store on Hillsborough Road. You can't miss this. The Zone van is out front, and there's a big pink sign that says T-Mobile. It's just right here on Hillsborough Road, right across from the mall. So come by, see us, get your stocking stuffed. The leader in 5G. They got everything here that you're looking for. All the brand names, Google, Samsung. It's all here. Just everything that you want. There's accessories. So everybody loves their phone right now. They got audio stuff and all kinds of equipment. People always need stuff for their phones, or maybe you just need a new phone, or maybe you need a new provider. Whatever you need, they got you covered here. John Glennon set to join us any moment from Sports Illustrated, covering the Titans. Titans officially on their bye week now. Opportunity to rest and recharge the battery some. We'll discuss that with Glennon and more. Our buddy Brett Batchelor producing again today, filling in for Lucas, who did a great job earlier today with Will, holding things down for Buck, who is around the world right now. When Buck leaves, he leaves.
Oh, yeah. He went back home.
Back to the motherland for sure. John Glennon, he's not calling from the motherland, unless Nashville is his motherland. I don't think it is. Glennon, where's the motherland for you?
Motherland, I guess in theory you could go all the way back to, say, Ireland, as you and I
you would be both,
know,
yes.
That is the ultimate motherland, yes. But originally born up around Washington, D.C., Alexandria, Virginia. So I'll be making a visit there soon, I hope.
Well, that sounds good. All right, let's ask you another question to start. Who's the best team in the AFC right now, right at this moment?
Interesting question. If pressed, geez, do I go with the Patriots? You're going to say something?
No,
I just said
we're just saying. Well, yeah, what do you do? It's a tough
hard
question.
not to go with the Patriots or the Ravens at this point, right?
Yeah, you have to. I mean, it seems like it changes every week or two, but am I saying that I think the Patriots are the team most likely to be in the Super Bowl? I don't know that. Maybe at some point Mac Jones starts playing a little bit more like we think rookie quarterbacks should. But man, they're rolling right now. They're good defensively. And they're doing enough offensively, as we saw against the Titans, that they're a pretty good bet right now. And we all know that Bill Belichick can do with just enough talent, and he's certainly making the most of it. Right now.
John Glennon, our guest, at Glennon Sports on Twitter, SI.com, Sports Illustrated. You can find him there where he writes about the Tennessee Titans.
Well, JG, man, I guess I'm wondering, what are your thoughts on Ryan Tannehill's play thus far, especially let's just not do the last 2 games, just in totality up to this point. What's your grade of Tannehill and perception of him and observation?
Yeah, my observation is I think there's a lot of qualifying factors involved when you talk about Ryan Tannehill, and I think, and I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but I think there are legitimate reasons that his numbers look a lot different than they have the first 2 years here. When you look at the depleted talent in the receiving group right now, you look at kind of the lack of chemistry that he's had with the newer guys, just because he hasn't had a whole lot of reps with them. You look at, no Derrick Henry as a threat in the running game, means more people dropping into passing lanes. And the O-line hasn't been as good pass protecting. Those are all reasons, legitimate reasons, that contribute to Ryan Tannehill's, slide numbers-wise this year. But all that said, it's not good enough to be, those factors aren't enough to say, okay, yeah, we see now why Ryan Tannehill has thrown, 13 interceptions in 12 games. That's just not going to cut it, no matter what contributing factors are there. And 5 picks in the last 2 weeks, and I want to say 10 in the last 7 weeks. That's a killer, we hear Mike Vrabel harp on it time and time again, about turnovers and ball security and so forth. And while, again, not every interception is certainly Ryan Tannehill's fault, but, he's got to be better there. And there are some plays that he has missed too. I think, we go back to the Patriots game and he missed Chester Rogers on what could have been a touchdown, certainly would have put them right near the goal line, and missed that. So, it's part contributing factors and part Tannehill not just being as good as he has been the last 2 years, but he is someone that has to improve, I think, down the stretch.
Well, we're on with John Glennon, the man, the myth, the legend, here with the Blaine and Mickey show. And you didn't know where I was going with that, did you? But
I didn't. I'll take it, though.
Do you believe that winning and losing is contagious? And think about that for a split second. Then I'm saying, if yes, can injuries be contagious?
Ooh, interesting. Ooh, we're going deep today.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what happened when they put me around all this technology here, man.
I do think there is something certainly to the winning and losing being contagious. I think winning gives you confidence, and when you're in situations where the game is on the line, where it's a tight game, and you are used to either winning or losing, I think you probably tend to move in whichever direction that the team has been going in most recently. If your mind is accustomed to saying, oh, geez, we're going to make some kind of a mistake, or somebody's going to have a big play against us. This has happened so many more times before. I think tendencies are that it's more likely to happen again, and the same with winning. So injuries, that's one I hadn't thought of. Maybe if guys are having certain injuries, other guys are more wary of it. If there's been, say, 10 hamstring injuries maybe on the Titans or something like that, and all of a sudden the guy is feeling a little bit of a twinge back there, maybe is he more reluctant to play through and say, oh, it's just a twinge? Is he more likely to say, I'm lumped in with everybody else now, it's another hamstring injury? I don't know. That's a question I couldn't have a definitive answer on that part of it.
We're on with John Glennon, Titans writer for SI.com.
JG, let's stay on the injury thing for a minute, because Mike Vrabel got asked what Monday. It may have been Luke Worsham who asked him. A lot of people are wondering about the strength and conditioning staff and the people who are responsible for treatment. And do you have any questions about what they're doing? Basically, I don't think he used the words, do you have confidence in them 100%? But Vrabel basically answered and said he does have 100% confidence in them, and, that he puts nothing on the strength and conditioning staff. And I get that, but I mean, at the end of this year, based on the fact that you are literally having historically one of the most injured seasons in NFL history, if not the most injuries and the most people playing in modern NFL history, don't you have to evaluate everything at this point?
Yeah, absolutely. Just like any team, if your running game is terrible throughout the year, you go back at the end of the season and say, okay, let's look at this. What can we do better next year? Do we need a better line? Do we need, better schemes? Defensively, if we only have 20 sacks, what can we do better to get after the passer? Well, I think the same thing has to be said for injuries here, and I believe Mike Vrabel when he says he has, the utmost confidence in strength and conditioning and the training staff. At the same time, though, like you said, it's an end of the season evaluation type thing. You go back and you look at everything from off season on, and you say, okay, what can we do differently? What can we do better? Who can we talk to? Experts in the field that might be able to help us here. And what Mike Vrabel has hinted at too, I think more than once, is that, the coaching staff and the training staff doesn't get to see as much of the players these days as they used to, because of the new CBA. You're not spending as much time around the facility during the off season. And he has said, players do have a responsibility to maintain that kind of peak conditioning. So when they do come back to training camp or OTAs or whatever, that they're not going to pull things, right away at that point. So he's throwing that out there a time or two as well. But you're absolutely right. That has to be evaluated because, that is obviously something that could prove a big factor in derailing the Titans. What could be a championship team if there's better health.
I know a lot of people locally were excited to see Golden Tate maybe get an opportunity with the Titans. He's on the practice squad now. I am interested to see just a veteran presence like that. I know they've tried all sorts of young guys and old guys and every type of guy to help in this dearth of injuries they're experiencing, but an experienced receiver does seem like something that could really help Tannehill, especially over the next few weeks until you could get a healthy AJ and Julio back, even though he's more of a slot guy, but just maybe that experience would help some.
Well, I would think it would have to, even though these guys haven't played together. Golden Tate has been around the league long enough and knows, enough NFL schemes that it's not, anything brand new to him. I think it would have been a tough ask to come in and play after just a few days at a wide receiver spot, because I do think in general that's more difficult than say what an Adrian Peterson did at running back. I think it's not quite as challenging for a running back, but I'm interested to see what they will do with Golden Tate, because as you said, he's sort of more of a slot guy, I think, especially at this point in his career. And of course, the Titans have Chester Rogers in there. But, Golden Tate, if he is up to what he did, even as recently as last year, that could certainly be a big boost. And you've got guys that are coming on otherwise, certainly Nick Westbrook, is moving in the right direction. And even a guy like, Cody Hollister only had a couple of catches, but he was playing 50, 60 snaps, and we saw the same for Des Fitzpatrick. And I think, we're seeing kind of incremental progress there as well. But, those are guys that are learning the ropes in the NFL game. Golden Tate has been around the block, more than a time or two, and you would think certainly that immediate confidence level would be higher as well. So it'll be a nice addition for sure, and I'm sure the Titans will be making many visits to that training room to see how the AJs and then the Julio Joneses and so forth are coming along.
John Glennon, our guest, talking Titans here at Glennon Sports on Twitter. You can follow him there.
Yes, John G. Man, I saw your article. I'd love to get your input on what you found out about the free agent signings this past offseason by John Robinson and crew there, and the success and non-success of those players.
Yeah, I think it's been a little bit of a mixed bag. I would say for the free agents. Certainly there's a major question mark there, and that is Bud Dupree. And he was the huge signing, the $80 million or $82 million signing. And we just don't know at this point. It's still, a muddy picture because of the injury. And we knew to some extent anyway that there would be an injury issue with Bud Dupree. But I don't think that, the Titans figured they would be looking at Bud Dupree on injured reserve in week 13 either. I think the initial idea was that Bud Dupree might take a few games, maybe even half a season, to kind of get up to speed. But, perhaps because he was too eager to get back, he really hasn't been able to show the full strength yet. And then, the abdominal injury certainly is keeping him out now, where it was the recovering from the knee injury. So remains to be seen how that works out. And that kind of, how well Dupree plays will ultimately be the litmus test, for this entire free agent class. But, Danico Autry has been a huge success, not only what he has done, but what he has helped Jeffrey Simmons do. So I think that's been the best signing for the Titans. And I think, Jack Rabbit Jenkins has had some ups and downs, given up some touchdown passes, but I think for the most part, I think he's been pretty solid. He brought some much needed experience to that secondary, the cornerback group in particular. And I think he's filled in pretty well. He's been aggressive. He's come at a cheaper value than Malcolm Butler was going to be, and that allowed the Titans to sign some other players as well. And then there's some other guys that haven't necessarily worked out as well. Like a Kendall Lamb is an example that comes to mind. This is a guy I think they expect is going to compete for that right tackle spot, and it just really hasn't happened. He's kind of filled in from time to time, at both tackle spots, but struggled more often than I think most people would have expected. And then, of course, another disappointment was the Josh Reynolds signing as well. I think Josh Reynolds never explicitly said this, but I kind of think that he came here with the idea that he would be a number two, because Julio Jones was not here at the time. I just, in my mind, I think ever since the Julio Jones trade, Josh Reynolds kind of mentally and physically sagged, and we didn't see that, at least to me. Again, this is me, what I saw on speculation, but I didn't really see that great competitive burning desire to get in there all the time. And as I said, he wasn't really 100% physically, so that had to be a disappointing, free agent signing there. But, yeah, so I'd say mixed bag. I would say overall we have to throw in Ola Adeni, too, as a guy that's kind of surpassed expectations. But, more good than bad. But Dupree, it's going to be a huge question mark there, and that's what's going to turn it ultimately, to be a good crop or a not-so-good crop.
All right, well, give me the grade. What grade would you give him? At this point right now, I got you. I cornered you.
That's right. Yeah, well, I guess I could cop out and say incomplete because we don't know Dupree.
But that's not who you
as
are.
for now, if I won't cop out, I'll say maybe a B- or so at this point. And if Dupree comes back and shows us something, boy, it could certainly move up higher than that.
Well, man, I guess I'm right there with you with the B-. As far as Jackrabbit, with him maybe on IR here at this point in time, who is going to be starting corner, I guess, or the corners available when they come back from the bye besides Fulton and Molden?
That's going to be another good question because you look at the injured guys and as Maben has been out and Chris Jackson has been out and of course, Caleb Farley went out, early in the season. So, you're looking at Chris Jones and Elijah Molden and Christian Fulton. Maybe those are your top three right now, and then you're hoping, that you can get a guy like Maben back soon because he stepped in there and did pretty well for himself considering he never had much time to play or adjust to being with the Titans. But that's a thin spot right now for sure. And you also look at inside linebacker, and that's a mighty thin spot all of a sudden too with, Rashawn and David Long have been out multiple weeks, and Jayon Brown I don't think is at 100%. And now Monty Rice is going to have to miss at least 3 games, on IR. So a couple kind of thin spots for the Titans there on defense.
Well, lastly, this is for my guy that I played with. I guess is Eddie George one of the best in his era when he played football for the NFL and the Titans? Oh
yeah. I mean, no one. I don't think anyone would argue against him being one of the best players of his era. I think the debate. For Eddie, I think the probably the thing that most critics would say is the kind of the yards, the average yards per carry maybe is not as high as some of the other guys who have made it into the Hall over the years. But on the other hand, what Eddie did in terms of consistency, and I don't have his numbers in front of me, but what was it, 6 or 7,000 yard seasons, consecutively. And again, the central part of an offense that was based on the running game and looked to him time and time again. So I'm glad he is kind of advanced to the spot that he has now, and certainly he's the guy that should get a legitimate look there. As you said, that the words are perfect that you said there. One of the best players of his era, and that's what it takes to get into the Hall.
Well, with John Glennon, Titans writer for SI.com.
JG, let's do this on the way out. Let's take Derrick Henry out of the equation because we have no idea what's going on with a broken bone that's being fixed inside his foot. Everybody who can come back besides Derrick Henry, all these cats on IR, who do the Titans need the most to try to finish strong? Julio, AJ, Dupree, who do they need back the most?
Yeah, I would have to say it's AJ above all the others. They're still playing pretty well defensively, and I don't think we saw the best of Bud Dupree, and they were still getting by there. Julio, sort of similar in a way that we never have seen the best Julio, but they've still managed to get by pretty well. But when you look what Ryan Tannehill and AJ Brown have done together, for the past 3 seasons. And how they're so desperate for at least one receiver, top flight receiver out there. I think he's the key to it all. And I go back, remember when Ryan Tannehill first stepped into the starting lineup, and then pretty soon right after that, he and AJ just had a great thing going. And part of the reason was that in that training camp, when Marcus was still the starter, when Marcus Mariota was still the starter, Ryan and AJ had a lot of reps together, with second team reps together. And that's why they clicked almost instantly. We've seen that ever since. It's just a great combination. So I would think above all others, he is the guy they need not only to come back, but to come back at full strength and see some of that kind of play that we saw during that stretch this year when he had those 3 games in a row, over 90 and a couple over 100 as well.
JG, good stuff. Again, people need to follow you on Twitter at Glennon Sports and also anywhere where they consume SI. I still get it in my mailbox, but people can find it on all their favorite internet outlets as well. JG, thanks for the time today, brother.
Always enjoy it. All right, thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Sir. We asked him a bunch of questions today, hard questions. You might turn down our phone call the next time. No, I'm not answering all their hard questions. When we come back, a couple of guys are going to get to do something that Blaine Bishop got to do. A couple of Tennessee Vols going to get to do something that Blaine Bishop did, and he did it very well, and we'll tell you what that is next. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone.
No one wants to go to the vehicle repair shop. It's like going to the doctor for an operation. The typical first reaction is, how do I know that I really need what they say I need? Sometimes you really wonder if you're getting a repair recommendation or you're making someone else's mortgage payment. Blaine Bishop will tell you that people are tired of getting bamboozled. And if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired of auto repair shops, come on over to Eurofix. It's a place you can trust. Eurofix repairs everything European. So if you feel like you've been lied to or taken advantage of when it comes to auto repair, come and check out Eurofix. Eurofix will always tell you the difference between a recommendation and a must-do. You get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection at every visit, no appointment necessary. Just come when you want to come. And Eurofix also offers a free nationwide 3-year, 36-month warranty on all work. Plus a free rental car with reservation on every repair, so you're not stranded sitting around all freaking day. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX Monday through Friday, or you can just visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. But always tell them Blaine said you.
Now, a high school football scoreboard update. Presented by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office on 104.5 The Zone.
Lipscomb Academy, D2 AA champions after a 27-0 win over CPA in Chattanooga. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Mustangs complete a perfect season under Trent Dilfer. Future Boston College running back Alex Broom, the MVP, 137 rush yards and 2 touchdowns. Coming up in about 15 minutes, it's D2 Single A, the state title game between DCA and Nashville Christian, rematch of the regular season finale, which DCA won 7-3. And tonight, a 6 Central kickoff in Finley Stadium. It is D2 AAA between McCauley and MBA. Drunk driving is the ultimate form of unsportsmanlike conduct. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you that fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone, 3800 Hillsboro Pike. That's where we are. You can come by and see the Hitman dancing right now. We're across from Green Hills Mall. Big stuff, the T-Mobile store. We're going to be here today and tomorrow. 3HL is here today. They're here tomorrow. There's Pie Town Taco Truck out in the parking lot. You want to get yourself some tacos. There's games and giveaways, and T-Mobile always has great deals. They are your hometown network. Celebrate the holidays with us at this brand-new T-Mobile store, 3800 Hillsboro Pike. Literally, today until 6 o'clock and tomorrow, 1 until 6 o'clock. So the news breaking out of the Tennessee camp yesterday, Alontae Taylor released a statement saying he would go ahead and leave the University of Tennessee and try to get himself healthy, focus on the Senior Bowl, the NFL draft, and then also the news breaking about Velus Jones Jr. He also got an invitation to the Senior Bowl. He's a real interesting prospect because it's like, okay, man, till you figure out the receiver stuff, go catch these punts. I mean, both of these guys to me are interesting prospects. Heck of an opportunity. Same one you got. You played in multiple All-Star games, but Senior Bowl Hall of Famer, Blaine Bishop.
Yeah, I didn't come to go to a prestigious school like Tennessee as far as football programs. But, I think both of these guys have a great opportunity. I think they will be drafted. A lot of people say, would beg to differ, but I think both guys are draftable players. And here's why, Velus Jones Jr., because if he doesn't work out immediately, he, as a receiver, he's definitely a great returner, punt and kickoff returner, and I see him as a slot receiver in most schemes and systems. And he definitely has the speed. He has the toughness. Naturally, all those guys got to continue to advance and get better at route running. But I think he will. He's tough. He's built NFL body. So, and then Taylor, naturally, he's a fit. He's got length. He's long. He's fast. Played in the best conference in America. So I see him being more of a mid-round guy, and Velus probably somewhere there after that, somewhere. Just depend on your, where your team is at and what kind of, scheme and system that you run if, you get a better fit and they like you a lot. But I think they'll have a lot of success. Senior Bowl is a great experience because it's all the best players typically, unless you're not playing in it, because they decide not to, in the country. So you get to see how you stack up because then all these guys are NFL talent. And that's what I loved. And then we did it twice a day. I don't know if they still do that now, but a lot more exposure. NFL coaches are coaching it, so that's always beneficial. Get the hands-on work with the players and get to know them personally and with their personality and how they are and how they receive. Are they coachable? Do you see and envision this in the future and everything else about them? So, man, it was a great opportunity for me, and it's gone a long time. I think Jim Nagy runs it now, who's a scout many years in the NFL. Man, I think it's a great opportunity. I'm a little surprised that more guys on the radar from Tennessee, though. But I guess they had a better season expected, and the team was coached better from an individual perspective, so they had better performances. I think the schemes were easier for them to understand, and they could then read and react, as we saw Theo Jackson. So I think a lot of the Senior Bowl invites were already consummated, like going into the season, guys that they were watching.
Right.
So some other opportunities. Hopefully I'll get some at some other bowl games. But, man, it should be an exciting time for all the guys coming out. And then for the people, I'm going to talk to Doug Matthews about that, beating, guys over the head for not playing in a bowl game or anything like that. If you're not in a national title hunt, I don't think anybody should have any issue with any of that, even if you didn't want to play in those too, by the way. Got a lot at stake and a lot riding on you. And if you're a little banged up already, I think you need to make sure you take care of yourself first.
The Senior Bowl is not only a job interview on the field. I mean, you're talking to NFL, because we always wonder who all the Titans talk to. In this case, covering the Titans, who all do they talk to at the Senior Bowl? I mean, you're getting an interview with teams, so not only they watch you play, they get to talk to you. This is
They get separate interviews, and let alone they're talking to you while you're practicing. They are your actual coaches.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're right. But then you're getting to sit down and interview. That can go a long way, man, to taking you, over someone else. Because naturally, a lot of the times, when you're that middle round guy, your interview could give you the nudge over the other guy.
Sure.
Or clean, health, clean record, good student, coachable, all those things, plays hard, plays through injuries. All those things get out there. You don't want any, negative by your name, really, at all. That's the way you beat somebody out.
That's a great point, too. Just maybe you got to the invitation to go to the Senior Bowl. They talked to you. They know you. Maybe they kind of liked another guy. They didn't get to talk to him. He didn't play in the Senior Bowl. Heck, they sat down and talked to you for X amount of minutes. Maybe had you draw something up. I mean,
all of that counts. Now, on the other side of that, though, also to get to find out the things that they don't like about you. The big stick for me, because it kept coming up, and I just kept saying, man, how can I? And my agent had no answer, Jim Steiner, for me on what to say. It kept on saying, man, we just haven't seen somebody bow-legged to have a lot of success in the league. And I just kept saying, well, that's because y'all haven't seen me.
Right.
That's the
right answer.
That's the only thing I could say at the time. And I think it was Nate Odoms for the Bills. He was one of the guys they would compare. And then they thought also that there was an injury history to that in the league. They thought that because I had loose knee joints, and they said, man, have you ever torn your ACL? I said, nope. And so they thought that it was a possibility that I could get injured a lot with my lower body. Actually, I hardly have any lower body injuries.
Right.
I mean, really, it was all hand, finger, wrist, arm, shoulder. And the physicality of the game. So, that kind of went into it. I think they're past that now. But, it's always something when you don't know enough about it.
Blaine Bishop clearing the way for bow-legged players. They could say, well, no, his comp is Blaine Bishop. He did fine.
I love to say that I was the guy who started the 5'10" safety.
Oh, no more Steve Atwater.
Yeah. I started the run on that. Now, I may have been a guinea pig. Now, a lot of them had a lot more success than I did.
Had pretty good success. Senior Bowl Hall of Fame, by the way, Blaine Bishop. All right, hour number 2 coming up. Doug Matthews. We can talk about all this stuff. Also need to get into Hendon Hooker, because I think the latest rank, like 7th as a quarterback.
I told you he got to come out.
This was a 3rd-round pick.
He has to come out. People think I'm crazy. I've been saying it for the last month that he should come out. And everybody goes, oh, he had one good year. He should have it. No. You got to look at the competition, the timing. There's not a lot of great elite quarterbacks, and he'll continually move forward because of his 1-year success. And the NFL projects the quarterback position, they'll reach. So if they're saying he's 3rd, 4th round right now, guess what? You need to come on now, because you may go 2nd.
That's true. Second hour of our show is coming up next. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone.
Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. Vols cornerback Alante Taylor announced yesterday he will not play in the team's bowl game so he can prepare for the Senior Bowl and the NFL Draft. Also, wide receiver Velus Jones Jr. announcing he, too, will participate in the Senior Bowl. Around college football, according to reports, Notre Dame defensive coordinator Marcus Freeman has emerged as the lead candidate to become the Fighting Irish's head coach, replacing Brian Kelly. Thursday night football tonight, Taysom Hill will make his first start at quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. They host the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday night football. Saints without several starters, including running back Alvin Kamara. Catch the Westwood One coverage right here on The Zone. In Nashville Soccer Clubs, Walker Zimmerman wins Major League Soccer's Defender of the Year award for the second straight season. He was named to the MLS Best 11 as well, along with Nashville midfielder Hani Mukhtar. The Preds in action tonight. They host the Boston Bruins. It's a 7 p.m. puck drop at Bridgestone Arena. And college hoops in Music City, it's the Battle of the Boulevard. Lipscomb at Belmont, a 7 p.m. tip at the Curb Center. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Thursday, December 2nd. My goodness, where does the time go? But we are in the shopping season. Happy holidays to all of you out there. Why not do a little holiday shopping? And here's where I'm getting with this. We're out of the station today. Normally, they don't let us out. We normally are captive in the station. So we couldn't get in for 18 months.
They keep us caged in, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what was up with that.
For 18 months, we couldn't get in, and now we don't get out too often. But we're out today, 3800 Hillsborough Pike. We are at this brand-new T-Mobile store right across from Green Hills Mall on Hillsborough Road. Pie Town Tacos is serving lunch outside in the parking lot until 4 o'clock today, so late lunch. You can grab that here. 3HL is going to be here from 3 to 6, so you can come by and see them as well. And here's the thing. Maybe you got that hard to buy for person, or you got the person you just don't know what to get them. There's all kinds of great gift ideas here at T-Mobile. Everybody loves technology now. That's the way to go. There's giveaways. There's all kinds of stuff going on. There's tons of awesome deals from our friends at T-Mobile, your hometown network. Again, celebrate the holidays with us today. We'll be here tomorrow as well from 1 to 6. Blaine and Mickey and 3HL. T-Mobile, 3800 Hillsborough Pike. Also, our friends at T-Mobile, a big part of our Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels toy field that we're going to be doing next Tuesday. If you've already got your toy, failed to mention this earlier, we actually have a collection box here. So if you're in Green Hills, you want to go ahead and contribute to Toy Field, which you guys and gals, you take such fantastic care of us every year, and then we give those toys to a bunch of kids who they get to wake up and have a fantastic Christmas because of you. You can drop the toys right here today. So come by and do that. Again, Toy Field is next Tuesday, but you can go ahead and drop off your unwrapped toy today or a gift for a senior thanks to T-Mobile, Planet Fitness, and Freedom Boat Club of Nashville. Blaine, always nice to be out in public, and it's a cool store, and there's all kinds of cool stuff in here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. From Samsung to Apple, you name it, they got it. Google, they have it here at T-Mobile. But I think we have a caller on line one, Mickey. So let's get back into the groove in hour two. Of the caller, no?
No, this is one of the best kind of calls. It looks like this is your life, Blaine Bishop. Mike from Nashville thinks you two might have had the same agent. Mike, you got to get in here and explain this.
Oh, Jim Steiner?
Yeah, Blaine, I was, when I came out of Vanderbilt in 77 or 78, I think he was just starting in the business, and so we had the same agent. I didn't play as long as you did, but it's always good to hear your knowledge and your honesty about players, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, Jim Steiner, man, because they were honest with me, and I think that's how a lot of these guys need to make their decisions when you're talking about an agent. They told me I was a mid-round guy. I could think all day that I wanted to be a first-rounder. I wanted to be, but was I? And he had Jerry Rice and some other clients, so I was a little nervous that he had high-profile players at the time, and then how would he, address me, who I was a middle-round guy going into the draft and ended up slipping to, the last round. So, yeah, he was great, man. We still keep in touch today, man, so I appreciate him.
He was good. Well, great. I'm glad, and he was a good guy, and I enjoyed our time together. That's for sure.
Hey, Mike, Mike, we got to ask you. Hey, are you still there?
Yeah,
So
I'm here.
So what happened with you? How did you wind up getting drafted? Where'd you play? You got to give us the info on that, man.
I was a free agent with Kansas City.
Yeah.
And made it all the way to the last cut and got cut. So I called him. He said, "You want to go to Canada?" I said, "No, if I can't play in the NFL, I don't want to play anywhere." So I just went and got a job.
Well, we got that Vandy education to fall back on. Not a terrible thing. Huh?
Amen, brother. It opened a lot of doors, that's for sure.
Mike, that's a great call. Thank you, man. Thanks for sharing.
Too on that. Yeah. And which is always a tough decision. Appreciate you. Yeah, tough decision for a lot of guys.
Merry Christmas.
You too, buddy. You too.
Tough decisions when you get cut, to make that decision. Remember, I said that's what I would have done. I would have been like, it's over. Yeah. Move on. Because then if not, you're delaying the process and you're always fighting an uphill battle, whether you're on the practice squad or the last guy on the roster is worrying about getting cut and then bouncing around the team. That just kind of wasn't the lifestyle that I wanted to be a part of. And I said it during that time. And fortunately, right place, right time. And some guys got hurt. And then next thing you know, I'm moving up the totem pole on a depth chart.
For people who listen to this show, I always ask you questions about it. So I've essentially made you tell all these different stories about your career along the way. But you bring this up all the time. There are a bunch of guys out there who were good enough to play. They wound up on the wrong team, wrong chance, wrong system,
or
get hurt,
got injured. Yeah.
Got injured.
Yeah.
They're just guys who just, like you said, right place, right time. And for you, it was doing something different than you'd ever even done.
Yeah.
So that was part of being in the right place at the right time, was Buddy Ryan basically tapping you on the shoulder and saying, "Hey, big dog, this is it. This is what you got to do."
Yeah, man. It was I was playing corner and nickel the whole time. And then next thing you know, we had like 2 or 3 guys tear like ACL, patella tendon. My man Marcus Robinson tore his patella tendon at the time, or ACL. And he had just come off an All-Pro, and this is my rookie year. He had been in the league 2 or 3 years already. And so I'm sitting there going, "Oh man, really?" He's like, "Yeah, we're going to teach you all these different things, and you have the acumen and aggressive nature. You can do it. We'll be fine. You'll be fine." And next thing you know, I'm out there, man, and I'm loving it. I was loving it. I had to learn to love it, but learn that 46 was tough. That was all new to me, so I put in a lot of work. Being able to read offensive linemen and their keys and reads to be successful in that system. So yeah, it was. There's a part of me I never envisioned my career that way, and I never even wanted it. And I had to really have a sit down conversation with myself.
Hey,
like, am I gonna do this? Do I really want this? It's real now down there with them 6'7", 300-pound guys that I'm scrabbling around with. So I had to learn how to survive, how to protect myself, how to navigate and be successful with my size in that 46 at times when I'm in the 46. And then sometimes I'm on the slot receiver. Sometimes I was back deep. So it was really revolved around my skill set. So once I appreciated how that was going to happen, then I really embraced it. So it was at first, no way, no how. I wanted to be back deep. Like, hey, man, so it was really weird, but I got used to it. And really that was part of my success because that scheme works around me and then all the players, the pass rush behind it.
I've never asked you this, which is funny because I've known you 7 years. Like worked with
We're
you
on air.
Worked with you
On
for 7
air.
years. I'd never asked you this.
Uh-oh. Is this for air?
Yes. Let's just say that the safeties don't get hurt.
Yeah.
And you stay as a cornerback, nickel guy. What do you think happens with your career? I've never asked you that.
I probably would have been an average player as far as Pro Bowls and all that. I would have been solid just because of my acumen in the football world. Could have been probably a starter if I was in a cover 2 consistently, or maybe didn't play a lot of man-to-man because my long end speed wasn't something that I was a 4 or 5 guy all day. I wasn't, when these guys I'm running stride for stride with somebody, and then all of a sudden the ball gets in the air and they got another gear, and I'm like, woo, they pulling away from me. That's not good. Well, if I'm at safety, I already got that head start, so now I only have to put that gear into play, for 30 yards. For 30 yards, I feel like I could run with anybody in the league at the time. So I probably would have been average safety. I was even if I was just safety, I would have been in a different scheme. I would have just been a solid starting safety in the league. Corner, it would have been a struggle as you get up there in age and these guys getting taller and faster. it would have been a struggle there towards the end. But I would have found a way. I found ways to cheat and cheat. Basically, I call it cheating to beat the guy in front of you just because I'm competitive like everybody. But I will find a way to make things happen. Whether I was going to hold their arm when they go up to make a play,
Sure.
they were 6'3" and they could out jump me. Holding their waist, hitting their arm in stride to slow their stride, frequency. I mean, all these things I learned as a player to help me be successful. Yeah.
Oh, everybody was faster than me in basketball. I'd keep my hands down and hold the guy's shorts that I was guarding. You can't run away from me if I've got your shorts. But I did it. I didn't do it, obviously. Down low, I get right next to them, grab the hem of their shorts. Things like that. Hey, kept people
those
my
are some of the
speed.
things I'm talking about.
The survival.
Yeah. But one thing I can say, really, the core of all of my success, really in football, was just my passion and love for the game. It really is, and I became a student of the game and just studied it and found all the cheats. Just like the Titans ran that lead draw the other day against the Patriots with Hilliard, and he took off, right?
Yep.
Well, they had never run that before with Henry, really. Not as much as they did. I mean, I would have known by studying them if he was 1/2 of an inch yard closer to the quarterback. Because if he's wider and he's right behind the tackle or a little outside, he wants to get out for a pass route.
Sure.
So those are the little things that I would study throughout the time to give me the cheat. And then to take it to the next level is to identify when you get in the game. Now, that's a whole nother level.
But trust yourself, too.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a whole nother thing.
And that's why I watch so much film is that I trusted my keys and reads. And then when you turn on the tape, I look like I'm the fastest guy on the field. Because as soon as I see it, I read it. And so some people say, oh, we can get him on play action pass. Well, you can't get me because I know what I'm looking at. I know what I'm looking at. I mean, I could take a false step.
Right.
But I can recover. So, yeah, that was every week was a different challenge in what to look at for my keys and reads in each defense against their offense. So I never got. That's how I looked at it. I got beat sometime. I got to recover.
Sure. But everybody gets beat sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wasn't alone in that. So for sure I got beat. So yeah. But watch this. But it wasn't that many times.
There you go. Doug Matthews, he doesn't get beat. He joins us next. We'll talk Tennessee Vols with the longtime Vols assistant. Season's wrapped up. Bowl season coming up. Players coming, going. Lots to get to next with the coach, Doug Matthews, right here on Blaine and Mickey.
Now, a high school football scoreboard update. Presented by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office on 104.5 The Zone.
Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. One state championship final in the books as Lipscomb Academy defeats CPA for the D2 AA title, the fourth ever for the Lipscomb Academy Mustangs, capping a perfect season. Game 2 is underway. D2 single A, DCA and Nashville Christian scoreless in the early goings. An interception in the end zone by Nashville Christian's James Wardbrod IV has the Eagles now driving into DCA territory. Later tonight, NBA and McCallie kicking off at 6 Central for the D2 AAA state title. There's no need to consult the playbook. The winning strategy is to always designate a sober driver. Fans don't let fans drive drunk. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. We are at T-Mobile, 3800 Hillsborough Road. Here's the other thing. There's a taco truck, and we are absolutely destroying some tacos right now. Pie Town Tacos, you want to come by here. I mean, yeah, buy a phone. Get the tacos, too. We highly recommend. I'm not sure exactly what we're eating. I think it's chorizo. Whatever it is, it's good. Hey, have we got the coach on with us? We good to go on that? All right, Brett, let's bring in Coach Doug Matthews. Coach, how in the world are you doing on this 70-degree December Thursday afternoon?
Well, doing very well. I was down at the CPA Lipscomb game and driving back, just going past Mont Eagle, which many Middle Tennesseans will know all about. Stopped and had a nice little sandwich and ready to do a little show. But, yeah, absolutely gorgeous day to play football. There are people there in shorts and short sleeve shirts and good ball. Well, I say it's a good ball game. It was a interesting ball game. Lipscomb just so much better, and obviously winning the state championship. Two games they shut CPA out. A very, very good CPA team shut them out twice. So congratulations to them. They played very well coached. Got a lot of good players.
Well, you got high school kids playing for state championships. You got college kids getting ready to play for national championships or bowl games, as it were. Not sure yet where the Vols may be headed. I know we talked a couple of weeks ago and I asked you, were there any rumbling? You said, well, not really at that time. Is there anything that you're hearing right now, bowl game-wise, how it might turn out?
Not really, but, I haven't really kept up on that. A lot of it will have to do with what happens in Saturday's game. If Alabama can win, then in all likelihood there's going to be two Southeastern Conference teams that go to the college football playoff. That, of course, would bump everybody up a bowl. If Alabama loses, I think the assumption is probably they will not get in, and then either them or Ole Miss in all likelihood would go to the Sugar Bowl. But Tennessee, I think, has put themselves in pretty good position. The fact that they're playing at a bowl game is really what's important, and more so than even winning a bowl game is for this particular team and this particular program, I should say, is the fact that they're going to have a mini spring practice. They'll have another 12 to 15 practices. And,
sure.
I've kind of changed my thinking on bowl games. Way back when, back in the 50s and then the early 60s, bowl games were not even part of the national championship picture. They declare those before the bowl games.
Right.
Because they were meant to be rewards, and other than the big bowls, the Sugar Bowl and the Power 5 bowl games, and certainly the playoff games, I still kind of feel like that. These young men after going through last year and then this year, just to go have a reward. I know that winning is important, and I know they'll all say that, but it's much more my view right now, especially if you got a team like Tennessee who's has really had a good year, more of a reward. If you can get a win there, fine, but that's not the important thing, at least the way I see it.
Well, and if you do wind up playing at home, let's say the Music City Bowl or even the Liberty Bowl, playing in-state might help Heupel with this, building the fence around some in-state recruits, which is something he talked about the day he got hired. It wouldn't be even a terrible thing to play a bowl within the state lines of Tennessee this year for those reasons.
No, that's true. And
think Coach Heupel right now is concentrating on the 2023 class, not so much the 2022 class. Tennessee's pretty much locked in to take an 8, 10, maybe even more from the transfer portal, so that'll limit them somewhat on how many high school players they could take. Another thing, of course, what's going to happen with the NCAA situation, don't know on that. But I think it would be really good for recruiting, but I think most of the players would probably rather go to Florida or somewhere like that. But,
Yes.
but you know what? They don't get a vote.
Coach Doug Matthews, he always gets a vote with us. He's brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office each and every week here on Blaine and Mickey. Designate before you celebrate. It's a holiday season, remember? Designate before you celebrate because fans don't let fans drive drunk. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Coach Doug Matthews with Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Coach, I'd love to get your opinion on the structure of NCAA as far as college football with the coaches. And that is, when you see, Brian Kelly leave with your team still in contention to impact and maybe have a shot at winning a championship. Do you like the way it's structured? Do you have any idea if you wanted to change it? What would they be? Just kind of take us through your thoughts on how you view this. And with the early signing period at 17th, does it force them to have to leave sooner than later? I don't know. How do you see it?
Blaine, and I think that what you just touched on there at the end is exactly why. The new signing date, now it's in December. This year it's December the 15th. So we're looking at what? Less than 2 weeks, or right at 2 weeks from when we're talking right now. I think that's the thing that has changed. Not only coaches leaving quickly, and that was a little bit different situation for Coach Kelly, but him leaving quickly, and also on the other side, we've seen coaches or universities, athletic departments fire, LSU, Southern Cal being two of those, because they know they needed to get somebody in place. If you don't, you're gonna lose an entire recruiting season. When the signing date was in February, you could get a coach in, get him in December, get everything taken care of from a procedural standpoint, and then go out and recruit. But that's not true anymore. And I think that the hard thing certainly it's not hard, but it's so much different for me, is that things have changed so very, very much. The landscape of college football has changed so much, shoot, in the last 5 years, much less the last 10 or 15, 20 years. And because of that, everybody's kind of adapting. And quite honestly, I'm not sure that even athletic directors nor coaches know exactly, what to do. They're kind of feeling their way right now with the transfer portal, the name, image, likeness, the early signing date. All those things are kind of tying in, and I think they're kind of getting their feel of it right. There's going to be some mistakes made, but in the end, that's where we're headed. So you have to certainly be able to adapt if you're going to coach at any time, but especially in today's era of college football.
Well, let's stay with college football, and that is which coach move were you more surprised, Lincoln Riley or Kelly?
Ask me that again. I'm sorry.
Which coach's move were you more surprised about, whether it was Lincoln Riley or Brian Kelly or just even fit? I guess what are your thoughts on those? I
think Brian Kelly would be the one. I think most coaches just kind of assumed. He just became this season the all-time wins leader at Notre Dame. Now, just go back and read the list of guys who coached at Notre Dame. I mean, great coaches, But Riley's thing, I think there were several things involved in that. But even though he's denied it and many others out there have, I truly believe that, number one, he was not in favor of coming into the Southeastern Conference, leaving the Big 12. He was not in favor of that. Now, he didn't have a big say in it, but he wasn't in favor with it. And I think some of that had to do with that. And quite frankly, it's easier to get to the college football playoffs. He'll have an easier time winning 10, 11, 12 games at Southern Cal. Won't be easy, but he'll have an easier time than coming into this conference now, and I think he realized that, and I think that was part of it also. But I'd say Brian Kelly. Most people thought. I mean, Kelly's been to the playoffs 3 times. He's had 3 straight 10-plus win seasons. But Notre Dame, it's a different place. I truly respect the way that university handles their athletic programs, but they're not going to join a conference. That hurts you. They are, their facilities are they're nice, but they're not what the top probably 15, 20 programs in the country have. More than that. Academics, they're not gonna. They'll give a little on that, but not a whole lot. So, and they're not going to change. So I think all that had an opportunity to it. And he's going to a great area. Listen, LSU, they've had the last 3 head football coaches that they've had have all won a national championship in the one in the playoff era, but the other 2 since we've gone through essentially a playoff. Now the other part about that is 2 of the 3 were fired, so it's kind of a double-edged sword down there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're on with the coach, Doug Matthews, and I guess one more going into, with Hypo, and let's settle all the Tennessee fans down. I think they are now, but, man, you don't think there's any possibility he's going to Oklahoma or anything like that, right?
I think there's a possibility. I have no idea. From my conversations with him over the last few months, I know he's very happy at Tennessee, and I think he certainly knows that he can build a program there. The athletic director there is someone he's very close to. But I've been around long enough to know too that when the place you play at comes calling, you at least have to listen. I have no idea if he is or not. And the other part of it is I don't know where he stacks from Oklahoma's viewpoint. Or is he? I'm sure he's someone they're looking at. I'm not sure he would be the first choice or second choice. Don't know that, but heck, Blaine and Mickey, you guys, nothing surprises me anymore when coaches come in and staying, because there's no loyalty in most instances, and I don't mean that in a bad way. But listen, let's just take Lincoln Riley. If Lincoln Riley had 2 bad years in a row, Oklahoma would fire him. I mean, we've seen it. You see it all the time, and it's because of all the money that these guys are making. When you're making 6, 8, 10, shooting out, but it's about $10 million a year, you're not going to get 3 or 4 or 5 years. You're not going to get 2 or 3 bad years in a row. They're going to make a change, and with all the money that's in the sport now, these athletic directors, I know that some say, well, boy, you have big buyouts. They factor those things in, and when you have 125, 135, 150, in some instances close to $200 million budgets, I guess you can afford to pay off a guy, if he's not producing. But that's kind of the world we live in right now.
No doubt about it. We're on with the coach, Doug Matthews.
Coach, always an interesting time. We're talking about coaches and their money. Well, there's, young people, the chance to go pursue their money on a professional level. Lante Taylor made his decision, going to prepare for the Senior Bowl and the draft. Cedric Tillman got to make a decision. Hendon Hooker's got to make a decision. It's going to be interesting to me to see how things kind of turn out for those guys.
Yeah, not surprising that Lante did that. What a great career he's had. And in any other era, he wouldn't have had an extra year anyway. It's a COVID year they're all talking about. He certainly has the skills to play at the next level, and he's been a tremendous leader and player for Tennessee. Tillman and Hooker, and I have nothing other to base this on except what I think the future is for this Josh Heupel offense. I suspect both of those players will be back. Hooker had a phenomenal year. I mean, a phenomenal year. And, we've heard I know that Coach Heupel has visited with both. Well, he's visited with all these guys, but he and Tillman both. I would suspect both are back. Tillman really really under Coach Cody Burns this year. Boy, he really developed into a fine player. And if one of them was going to leave, I think it'd probably be Tillman. But again, I feel like both of them will probably be back for another year.
Jerome Carvin, a guy who said that he was coming back. That's huge for the offensive line.
There are of all the players that played this year, all but 6, or maybe it's 6 or 7, could come back. Carvin was one of those, and boy, that is a big addition. Listen, Cooper Mays, Spraggins, and Carvin, center and both guards. Those are 3. And listen, Cooper Mays got better and better as the year went on. So does Spraggins. They're both sophomores. Well, you talk about good nucleus of 3 good players in there. You got Wright at left tackle there. I don't think Cade Mays will come back. Don't know that he will, but don't think he will. But they've had some players kind of come along there. But when you line up with a center and 2 guards, pro football tackles are more important. In college football, much of the time, your center and your 2 guards are more important. I shouldn't say more important, but maybe more valuable would be the way to put it. And Carvin coming back is a big deal. And I think there's going to be some announcements of other seniors who are going to come back also.
Coach Doug Matthews, our guest, courtesy of the Tennessee Highway Safety Office on Blaine and Mickey. Coach, 13 of 14 SEC teams bowl eligible. One of the things you talked about a couple of weeks ago was just how good a job some of the new coaches have done, guys like Shane Beamer, to get his team to that point. What do you think when you see that? Literally every team in the league but Vandy made a bowl game. I mean, ultimately, I see parity more than anything.
Certainly what would be the middle to bottom half of the teams that we've seen play in the last 3 or 4 years, all of those got better. I mean, you can make a case. I'm not a big Coach of the Year guy because it's so difficult, but you can make a case for 7 or 8 coaches in this league that just have done a wonderful job. I mean, Arkansas and Sam Pittman, what he's done over there this year, excellent second-year coach. Certainly Lane Kiffin, and what he's done. You mentioned South Carolina. Shane Beamer's, that for that team to get the 6 wins this year, when Tennessee played them earlier, they looked terrible, but he got them to 6 wins. And Kentucky, even though they maybe didn't get to where a lot of their fans thought they had a chance, they've had a great year this year. Mississippi State, I mean, I'm probably leaving some out down there, but there's really, and you know what? At least I see, or I think I see, all those programs that I mentioned are getting better and better. They're competitive now, and I think we see that in the overall records. That those teams now, they can beat you, and this league from that standpoint is getting better and stronger. And I put a lot of that, quite frankly, on the fact that there's some really good head coaches have been hired in this league, and I think Clark Lee Jr. will do a really good job at Vanderbilt, the best he can there. They didn't win a conference game, but they really got hit hard. They quite frankly weren't very talented this year. And I think hopefully Clark will be able to get that moving in the right direction. That's a little bit bigger hill, as we all know. Probably small mountain would be better choice of words than these other programs.
Sure. Well, and, the guy with experience there, he knew what he was getting into, played there. So be interesting to see what happens with him for sure as he gets some time to build the program. Just on the way out, wanted to ask you this. Georgia and Alabama this weekend. So many people are looking forward to that game. Obviously, if you're Greg Sankey, you probably want Alabama to win so you can get 2 teams in the playoffs. But how do you think it's going to look on Saturday, Coach?
Well, everything that I've seen tells me Georgia. Just think about this. Georgia played, forget about the non-conference games, although they held Clemson to 3 points. The 8 conference games that they played this year, 4 of them scored 7 or less points. That's half of them. The other 4, the most that was scored on them was by Tennessee, 17. So they gave up 14 points or less in every single Southeastern Conference games that they played. And there were many of those scores that happened in the fourth quarter when the game was pretty much over. So this is an outstanding defense. Alabama is going to have to play exceptionally well. But, you put all that together, and then you realize this too, and Blaine certainly knows this from the teams that he's played on. The one thing that Alabama knows is this. Alabama knows that they can beat Georgia. And I think one of that last drive against Auburn, where they had to win that game to get in, to be able to stay in the college football playoff, to drive 97 yards when you hadn't done anything all day long, and to score, the winning touchdown, or gets you in a position to win the game. That's big time. And Alabama certainly, every player on that team, by the way, has beaten Georgia. That's plays. Every player that's played has beaten Georgia. Having said that, I think Georgia will win.
Mm-hmm. But that's still a mental hurdle, Coach. Great point that they have to get over and believe and get it done. They have to get it done first, though. Yep.
Blaine, you have to. I don't ever like to use the phrase that people don't understand, because that's not true. But until you've been either a player and a coach in those situations, listen, when you spent 2 or 3 years and you had your butt kicked, you can talk about all you want to, but the thing is you remember getting your butt kicked. Now that can be motivation, but it also can be, you know what? I've been down this road with these guys before, and but Georgia is so talented. They're so good up front. Good gosh, their up front defense is just phenomenal, and I think Alabama's going to have a tough time moving the ball on them.
Yep, NFL team there, Georgia.
Yeah. The coach. Hey, great stuff. Thanks as always for the time. Always love catching up with you. Drive safe on the way back from those championship games, Coach.
You bet, and we'll talk next Thursday.
That
Appreciate
sounds
it, Coach.
awesome. Tennessee Highway Safety Office Coach Doug Matthews. Football Saturday, Big Orange Sunday. You can always catch him right here on the Zone. You can catch us wrapping up the show next. Let's get into a little bit of this Hendon Hooker quarterback talk. A couple things we can share with you on that. So next, Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone.
Now, a high school football scoreboard update. Presented by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office on 104.5 The Zone.
Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzeek. State Championship D2 Single A action underway in Chattanooga in the second quarter between DCA and Nashville Christian. 3 total interceptions so far in this one. The latest by DCA's Nathan Magalai, picked off and returned 67 yards inside the 5 and punched in from 1 yard out by DCA running back Ashton Jones, and it's DCA with the 7-0 lead over Nashville Christian. Earlier today was Lipscomb Academy winning D2 AA 27-0 the final over CPA in Finley Stadium, and tonight the D2 state championships wrap up a 6 p.m. central kick in D2 AAA between McCallie and MBA. There's no need to consult the playbook. The winning strategy is to always designate a sober driver. Fans don't let fans drive drunk. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Again, 3800 Hillsboro. There's a brand new cool T-Mobile store, and it's a beautiful day, and you could come by here and you could see us for the next segment, or then you got 3HL coming up next. They'll be here till 6. We'll be here tomorrow, too. So if you want to buy somebody the gift of awesome T-Mobile or the gift of technology, that's such a big thing now. So why not just come by here and just fill up your gift bag and then forget all about it. December 2nd, you could be done with your shopping at one T-Mobile store. And these folks are healthy. I've been watching the way they interact with their customers. They're great. They answer their questions. They show them all the different products. I mean, I'm talking, but I'm listening too while we're here. They've done a fantastic job handling all the people who've come in, and they'll do a fantastic job handling you. So shout out to T-Mobile for having us here today and tomorrow. And we're going to be here again 1 to 6. So we're looking forward to that. Also appreciate T-Mobile helping us this year with our toy field, which is the best day that we have at the radio station every year. Let's say you're anywhere near Green Hills, you could actually come by and drop off your toy today. Then you don't have to drop it off on Tuesday. We've got a bin where you can donate that. Pie Town Tacos is here today until 4, and Daddy's Dogs will be here tomorrow from 1 to 4.
Daddy's Dogs.
You know me and hot
I'm
dogs,
gonna make sure I'm not
tacos,
gonna eat
pizza.
tomorrow.
I didn't eat today. I was pretty hungry by the time that stuff showed up.
I ate it anyway.
You powered through 3 tacos.
Yeah, I did.
So Hendon Hooker has been in college 5 years.
Yeah, that's another reason
He's
why I said
5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, COVID, so he could have another. Here's the thing I didn't realize about him until I looked it up. He's 6'4".
No, he's a big guy.
218. I knew it was
really. He needs to probably get a little thicker for the NFL. The durability part of it, I think it would be a little bit of concern, but I don't think he'd be running like that.
No.
Because once you start running the NFL, they hit to kill.
Oh yeah, they're going
and it won't be like
they
even
want to
in
see the
SEC.
next guy.
Yeah,
hit you.
Yeah, we're gonna see number 2.
Yep.
So I firmly believe that, and I know everybody wants to come back, but I'm looking at his own best interest. He needs to come out. Sorry, UT fans. He needs to come out. He may stay. If he does, that means he's got misinformation. Somebody deceived him. I know what I'm seeing. He's guaranteed a backup guy in the NFL immediately, and I think after having a 1 good year, what's really good. Here's how you make your decision also. Why should you come back? Tell me one good reason, and I'll have a retort for it. Oh, because you'll have a better record. Oh, you can have more yardage. Oh, you can go to a better bowl. You're not going to win a national championship. So there is no better bowl. Guess what? That's all risky for you. You just saw it this year. You got banged up, and you run around a little bit. So, yeah, that means that then you should come out, especially if you got the numbers he's got. He showed that he could be disciplined in a great scheme. It's going to inflate his numbers and everything else another year, but at this time you're delaying the inevitable, also risking injury. And oh, by the way, just say if you get injured, then all of a sudden we all know how this cycle goes. Just how did he get the starting job? Injury by the starter. Yep, and we don't know where Milton would be next year. If he got an opportunity, he may grow and learn and continue to get better himself. Take it wise high.
He is, like I said, 5th year he was in college 4 years before he came here to Tennessee. So 5 years. So one of the articles I read about him said Mel Kiper had him as number 7 quarterback on his board. And I looked and looked and looked. So I could not find that, but one of the articles that I read said he's currently 7th on Mel Kiper's board. I saw a list that had him as 8th. So I was like, okay, let's look at last year's draft. 1, Trevor Lawrence. 2, Zach Wilson. 3, Trey Lance. 4th quarterback pick was Justin Fields. The 5th quarterback pick was Mac Jones. That's all first-round picks. 5 guys went in the first round.
Well, every year is a new year.
Right.
Depending on how good the quarterbacks are.
And you said this yesterday, which is 100% true. If anybody reaches on any position ever, it's quarterback.
It's quarterback.
So all these guys, that's all first. So that was 5 through Mac Jones. 6, Kyle Trask. 7 was Kellen Mond. Kellen Mond was the 3rd-round pick as the 7th quarterback. So you go, okay. Davis Mills was
I'm going to just say this. He's better than Kellen Mond, and he's better than, in my mind, I know Trask had a heck of a year. I think he's better than Trask because of his mobility. He can make all those throws that Trask can make, and he has not as much mobility. So, yeah, I think so. I think he's ahead of Trask.
Davis Mills was number 8.
Projected in the NFL.
Yeah.
Different in college.
Sure.
So you can be a better college player and another guy be a better pro player than you.
We have Jackson on the line from Smyrna. Hey, Jackson, give us about 30 seconds, and then we got to give it up to Babs and our power forward here. What you got, Jackson?
I was going to talk about Hendon Hooker, man. And, Mickey, I agree with you that he might go a little early. But what I was going to say with the NIL deals, how much money could he really lose, even being a backup in the NFL? It's not like he's going to get a whole lot of money to get drafted at the position that he would get drafted at. Agree or disagree?
Well, that's a great point, because people always say, okay, you can make money within a NIL right now. The base salary in the NFL is like $460. Then the next year it's $570. Then the next year,
well, that's not counting even signing bonus.
Sure.
So yeah, but the risk is what you're missing. At is that the possibility they can get injured. You won't get it back. You won't get it back. And the way he was running around out there, that's how like he's playing football. So NIL can't pay him enough. Can't pay him enough. You can get $1 million deal and he can make $1 million. Already be ahead of the curve on learning the NFL game and learning the system and showing what he can do.
We showed you what we could do. Now it's time for Babs and Ron to show you what they can do, because 3HL's coming up next, 3800 Hillsborough Road, T-Mobile. Come by and see them. I'll come back again and do it tomorrow on a beautiful Friday. But today's a beautiful Thursday.
Yeah, and as always, Mickey,
you know it.
Peace.